I'm going to use the online compiler for our structures assignment. And so first of all, remember that in one of the previous videos, I created a project that was a template. So I'm going to My Projects on the online GDB, and I'm going to pull up my GDB template. I would strongly recommend that you create this template. And now I'm going to save. I think I can save it as. Actually, I need to, let me think about this a second. Can I do a save as? Or maybe I have to select all, copy, create a new project, might be the easiest. There's probably a way around what I just did, but I'm going to do it this way. Paste, and then I'm going to save this, and this is going to be my structures assignment, spring 2019. So I'm going to mimic what our textbook is kind of asking us to do, and you'll have to bear with me a little bit because I'm going to be setting up the example as I go. And so I'm going to use instead of a person info, I'm going to use a zoo info structure. Okay. The structures I decided on were the following. I created a zoo animal, and that's going to include an animal ID, and so that's one of my members, and that is just an integer data type, which will be like your person ID. And then I included an animal and a location within the zoo animal. So I have two other structures, and so they are created here. I made my location to be an integer enclosure ID and an enclosure name. And then the animal has a name, a species, and a weight, so that I have a variety of different data types here. And so this particular zoo animal is using this idea of what we call nesting structures. And it is also called aggregation. And the key phrase that we like to use when we're talking about this is a has a phrase. This has to deal with composition of functions. So for example, a zoo animal has a animal in it. A zoo animal has a location. And so when I use that key phrase has a, that's telling me that it is using aggregation. And so in order to create my zoo animals, there's a couple of ways that we're going to look at this. So the first thing that I did is just in my main. First of all, though, you have to declare all of your structures before main in order for this to work. So all of those definitions have to be before main. And I think also that, for example, location, I'm going to try this. I'm going to, if I were to cut it from right there, Control X, and paste it below, I don't know that my zoo animal would work. I'm going to go ahead and click Run here. It might throw an error because it says location is not defined. So every structure that I use within a structure has to be defined before its definition. So I have to have my animal and my location structure defined before my zoo animal structure. Okay. So now if I go to main, what I have to do, so the kind of the same thing here. Before I can create a zoo animal, I have to have animals and locations defined. And so in my zoo, I created an animal, lion, and a lion location. And to assign it values, I'm using an initialization list. And these values have to be in the same order that they are in my members here. So this is a string, and a weight. So I have a string, and a weight. That's a double. So those data types have to match with the order that they are in this list. If I switch that order around, take a look at the error message that I'm going to get and see what will happen. So if you run across this error message and I click Run, I believe it's going to tell me, it says something was expected before a string constant, comma. So actually, let me fix that. And then we click Run again, and it's going to say it cannot convert yada yada from double to a string. So it's telling you that the order of that data is out of whack. So we're going to fix that and put it back so that I have a string, and then a double, and then that should actually work. So you can use this assignment list in order to assign values to your objects. And so your objects are animal and location. I also created a zebra and a zebra location. So then my two animals that are in my zoo are my lion and my zebra. And notice that zoo animal now, I created a ID 100 for the lion, and then I'm using lion I'm passing in lion, which is actually sending all of these items in, and I'm sending in the lion location, which is sending both the ID number for the location and the name of the enclosure into lion's location. If I run this code, you can see what it's going to output, except I have a double comma here. Let's fix that. And it's just going to print, and this is not very pretty output. I'd expect better, so we have to fix that in a little bit. But it's 100 princess cat, and because I only picked on animal 1, which was my lion. So it's printing everything for the lion. So the name of my lion is Princess. It's a cat species. It weighs 540. It's in enclosure 23, which is called the big cats enclosure. And so that's my information. And so this is using an example of that dot operator. So if I use 1 and I'm accessing that integer variable, it's just 1 dot animal ID. But notice when I move down the list, if I want to access everything that's of the animal structure, I have to use animal and then the dot operator and then all 3 of the members for animal. So name, species, weight, I used .name, .species, .weight. So what happens is a lot of times we will write a method to write all of this for us, so we don't have to keep repeating it every single time because it gets real cumbersome to do this. And so I will show you how to write that in a function in just a minute, but this is a bare bones how to set up your individual structures and how to fill them. Now, another alternative to filling your structures. Let's go ahead and take a look at zebra, and I'm going to create zebra in just a little bit different way so you can see this. And you've seen this in the examples online or in our textbook. But animal zebra could be declared like this, but then I could set each of the zebra's individual member fields. So for example, zebra.name is assigned, well, if I could type, it might help. Oh my goodness. Zebra.name was assigned Lucky. So you could actually assign each of these items, again, line by line, zebra dot, what's next? Species, and that's going to be horse. And I could do zebra dot weight. And that's going to be assigned, whoops, it's a double, so 650.34, 650.34. Okay. And likewise, I could then do, that's my zebra. And then if I define my location, zebra location, I could do each of these individually as well. So it would be your preference which way you want to set up your assignments. One of the reasons that you might want to do a line-by-line assignment like this is if you were reading the data in from a data file. This might be the way that you would actually align stuff. Okay, I actually have to do zebra location dot, I think it's ID or something like that. Oh, enclosure ID, and it would be assigned 12. And last but not least, zebra location dot enclosure name, and that would be assigned Africa is the enclosure name for zebras. Okay, and so there's 2 different ways there that you can assign values to your structures. You can use that initialization list, or you can do the element by element. I kind of like the list because it's a little bit shorter. But if I run this, cross my fingers, it should produce the same output that we did just a minute ago. So that's the initial getting things set up. In our next videos, we will talk about how to maybe streamline this output here, and also how to do the comparisons, like how do you check to see if 2 of them are equal to each other.